All right, guys, before we dive into today's video on how to really use your body as the engine of the golf swing, which is so important to build a reliable, consistent golf swing that we all want. Today's the last day of our Father's Day free-for-all special. So tonight at midnight is the deadline for you to sign up, where you get to try all this out, right, before you make any buying decisions. You get your first lesson free. You get a full 14 days with our bonus bundle with our 4 biggest master classes that literally give you everything you need step by step to improve. I know that this will really help you. Listen, we're halfway through the year, right? And so if you're still struggling, still working on the same thing, still not finding solutions, the second half of this year doesn't have to be the same way the first half was, but you have to do something different. And I'm giving you an opportunity here to do that completely risk-free. You get to try it, okay? But this is not gonna last forever. I can't do it forever, okay? But I can do it until midnight tonight. So we're gonna put the link in the description down below. If you're interested in that, would really genuinely like to help you with your game. Go ahead and check that out. We'd love to see you there. In terms of core swing, when we talk golf swing, I always think about things in the golf swing as how does my body work? And then how do my arms and hands work? Now, in today's video, we're gonna talk core, body. Does that mean that how your arms and hands work is not important? Of course not. There's a lot of videos where we have like 500 to prove it, where your arms and hands are very important. But for this video, we're gonna talk core, how your body works. So there's 2 key things that I wanna talk about today that I see in good players, and I think a couple key concepts that can really help you. Now, we're talking core, I'm thinking rib cage is my thought here, and abs. And there's 2 things that are important. When I take my setup position, my rib cage and my abs are a certain distance away from the ball. Let's call it 3 feet to make it simple. The ability to keep my rib cage and core the same distance from the ball or a little closer during my backswing, especially in transition, and into my follow-through, is one of the key fundamental pieces that separates bad, good, and great golf swings. Rib cage to the ball. The second key component is how that rib cage or core works or moves. There's a turning component, both on the way back and through, and there's a tilting component of the rib cage, both on the way back, on the way down, and on the way through. Now, what's important is the ability to be great at both of those things. Can I keep my rib cage, abs, core the same distance or closer to the golf ball during my backswing, transition, and follow through? And can I turn and tilt them correctly? And that may seem like a couple things at once, but if you think about it correctly, I think we can really simplify this. Something when we did videos with Josh Koch a couple weeks ago, and he really referenced the core, the rib cage obliques, and how that helped him in his journey rather than thinking about hip turning, tilting, and shoulders. And I really have identified with that, and looking back upon it, the more I personally think about my rib cage, the easier it is for me to get a lot of the other motion. So if you've struggled with the idea of thinking about hip turn and tilt or shoulder turn and tilt, this can really help. Here's how I like to think about this. Imagine we have my rib cage here, and just for the sake of being patriotic, let's say the left side of my rib cage is like red. This middle part's white, and this right side is blue. Red, white, blue. When I take my setup position, the white is 3 feet from the ball directly facing it. During the backswing, my intent and my goal is to take the red, or left side of my rib cage, keep it the same distance as the white was as I turn it and tilt it. Now for me, if all I think about is get the red, or left part of my rib cage, the same distance as I turn and tilt it, it does all that good stuff for free. I just think get red where white was, keep it the same 3 feet from the ball, and get it pointed right at it. Now, transition, the white, or the center part of my rib cage, faces back to the ball. Again, the same distance or slightly closer than where I started. And then in the follow through, the blue, or the right part of my rib cage, now is the point that stays the same distance and faces it. Why is this important? A lot of golfers will come in that I see on here, cogornogolf.com, that have issues with doing that, myself included. You ever see some of my swings? I have the tendency to lift up during the backswing. So I flat shoulder turn, lift up. Now, if I lift it up, what happened to my rib cage? Is it the same distance as I was at setup? No, right? It's a lot farther from the ball. So if you make a backswing and your rib cage and your left side of your ribs gets farther away from the ball, that's an issue. Contact issues, too flat of a backswing, etc. What about during the downswing? How many of you say, hey, I lift up too much, I early extend too much? Well, all of that can be fixed, maybe not on swing one, but fixed by you taking that blue, that right side of the rib cage, getting it closer to the ball and pointing at the ball. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of how the rib cage works, and just the concept. Start with this. If you struggle with your body motion, solid contact, consistency, let's start with the general idea. My rib cage is here and it's this far away from the ball. When I make a backswing, what does it feel like to keep that the same distance? Point the blue at it, point the white at it, point the red at it, and all the time, all the while, keeping it that same 3 feet. So I'm not going 3.5 feet, back to 3, up to 4. It's 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet. And that really, really helps me in terms of compression, in particular, covering the ball, good posture, staying down, those things. So as we start to hit, let's start with just the left side rib cage. Let's say you're someone who comes up during your backswing too much. What you would start with is, okay, I feel my ribs 3 feet from the ball. Now I'm going to get my blue to stay that same 3 feet, turn and point at the ball. So imagine there's like a light or an arrow out of the left side of my rib cage. I want to get that turned and pointed at the ball the same distance as I started. So we're going to start with that first. So the blue points down and at the ball, the same distance as I started. I don't know if you could hear that, but that's about as much as I can compress a ball. Now, as I'm doing this, let's assume in my normal swing that I normally get my rib cage up too high. So I've gotten farther from the ball. If I keep my rib cage 3 feet and I didn't go up as much, and I make the same golf swing, I need to shorten something because I'm now closer to the golf ball, which likely means your trail arm and or your trail wrist will feel more bent, which is a good thing. That's what great ball strikers do. Bent trail arm, bent right wrist. So left arm one more time. If you struggle with having tilt, you tried to keep your shoulder down, you can't figure that out, try your rib cage. So rib cage starts 3 feet. I'm going to think about that blue, staying 3 feet and pointing at the ball. It should be a great feel for a lot of you. Let's do that. Blue down towards the ball. And again, yeah, it's as good as I can do. Now I'm consciously feeling my right arm a little shorter through the hit because I know I normally lift up a little bit. Why do I want to do that? Because I'm going to be able to compress the ball better, more consistently. On the flip side, let's say you already do that part good, but during the downswing, your right rib cage, either you lift up, early extend, or you don't quite get it turned enough, the side bend part. You can correct both of those. Start with the white at it, the center 3 feet, make your normal backswing. Now try and get the red pointed, again, the same 3 feet, but now have it feeling like it's pointing right at the ball, like there's a laser pointer right at the ball by the time I get to impact. Maybe you've tried getting your shoulder down. Maybe that doesn't resonate with you. Try the rib cage. So, downswing part. I'm going to go normal backswing, right side of my rib cage, 3 feet or a little closer, and turned, pointed at the ball by about impact. That's some of you are going to take that feel and hit it like you've never hit it before. Right side of the rib cage, down at the ball. And if you do that, especially that right side feel, because it's the turning and it's the tilting. So as I come down that right side, me feeling like I'm keeping that 3 feet or even getting to 2.5 feet, as I'm getting at the point there, automatically gives me a lot of turn and my tilt. Like that feels for me like I'm rotating a lot more into the follow through with just that feel. I really, really like this. So here, again, just for the downswing, my right rib cage 3 feet or closer, pointed at the ball, that laser at the ball by the time I go through impact. Right rib cage. Yeah, that feels really, really nice for me. Now, I would probably start with one of those two, but as you put the concept together, more big picture, I'm feeling my rib cage staying the same distance, left side to it, right side to it. So if I'm just doing this, I'm going left side to it, right side to it as I put a club in, right? Same distance, left side to it, right side to it. And that is a core driven golf swing. I maintain the distance. I turned and tilted on both sides. When you record yourself, what you should see from there is you're able to maintain your butt line. You're able to maintain your head on the wall. You're able to maintain the height of your head. Find out where your issue is, of course. If you're someone who goes down too much, you shouldn't feel like you go down anymore. You need to feel the opposite of that. But think about your rib cage to the ball. A lot of you that pop up on either side, this should make a tremendous difference. Use video as always. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video. If you like the video and want to support our channel, would really appreciate you doing me a big favor. Click that like button down below, click the subscribe, leave a comment what you thought about the video, maybe topics you'd want to see, just your general thoughts. The more action we get, the more YouTube sends our video out, really helps us help more people. If you like these YouTube style videos, we'll put another YouTube video card here on the screen for a similar video. If you want to go to cogornogolf.com, work with me, I would love to work with you. Click the logo, that'll send you to cogornogolf.com. Would love to see you there.